Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Song Witch, where we explore creativity and transformation and all of the magic that happens when we finally start to trust ourselves, even if the path is messy. Today, I want to share something really personal with you guys. So if you're feeling stuck or restless, I want you to know that I've been there too, and you're not alone. My story is about how I had been chasing lives that were never meant for me, and how I'm on my healing journey and I'm learning to come home to myself now. So get cozy, grab a cup of tea or light a candle if you'd like, and let's just have a heart-to-heart.
You know, I used to be a people pleaser. I used to think about everyone's approval whenever I would do something. But the story I want to tell today is about my career path. I should say my career, history. I say history because I have a history of switching careers quite frequently. As a matter of fact, about every 7 years, I drastically change careers to a different path. I've never been happy in any of the careers that I've chosen or even the careers that I've gone to school for. And so I'd stay in a job for about 7 years and then I'd be unhappy and I would completely stop and change directions. But the directions that I would go in weren't being true to my authentic self. I was always thinking about, what my family would think or my friends or I don't know. I thought that I needed to have certain types of jobs to fit into society and be looked at as a productive member. I was so caught up in trying to do the right thing that I never really stopped to ask if it was right for me. So even when I went to school to get my master's degree, I always wanted to be a therapist, a mental health counselor. Even in high school, you do those tests to see what you'd be good at, and that was one of the main things. That and a musician. Go figure. So I decided to go and get my graduate degree to be a counselor. But when I had to choose what type of counselor I wanted to be, I chose a path that I thought would be the easiest, which was school counselor. And the reason I thought it would be the easiest is because it was it came as a prepackaged deal. You belong to a cohort, you get your license. It's like a 2-year program. It's just a, one and done kind of thing. And with becoming a licensed mental health counselor, it wasn't as straightforward, and it seemed like there were more hoops to jump through, and I just didn't trust myself to do it. And I don't know why. No, I do know why. And let me be honest. A lot of the times I chose careers that felt easy to step into, and I didn't believe in myself enough to go for what I actually wanted, if I even knew what that was. I put myself in this tiny little box with safe goals and predictable paths. Check the boxes, collect the paycheck. It worked, but it did not light me up. So I chose the school counselor path, and come to find out, I hated it. I didn't like working in a school at all. And it was hard for me to admit that. I worked 7 years in the school system and then changed and went back to government finance. And so I had done government finance in my 20s for about 7 years. And then I did the counseling thing, and then I went back to government finance. So I felt it all just kind of start to come crumbling down. And I felt myself not being able to focus. I developed some health issues, high heart rate. Yeah, it was rough. I just wasn't expecting to have to switch careers ever again. I was afraid of change. I craved stability and routine, but at the same time, the routine had become mundane. And I could feel that something wasn't right. I just always thought about music and being an artist, and just always wished and dreamed that I could do that. And kind of felt like my soul was just wasting away. Yeah, it was pretty soul sucking.
I panicked. I started to spiral, thinking, what's next? What if I fail? What if I never figure it out? And then everything just kind of came crashing down on me. But this time it felt different. For the first time, I knew I couldn't just jump into the next safe thing. My whole body was saying no. So this time, instead of pushing through, I gave myself permission to just sit in the mess, to just stop. Which, by the way, is so uncomfortable if you're used to defining yourself by what you do. Sitting in that stillness just felt like I was staring into a void. But when I finally got quiet, I realized something. I realized I had spent my whole life asking the wrong question. I was asking, what should I do next? But the real question was, what do I actually want? And I really didn't know.
So last year when everything started to fall apart with my career, I realized that I needed to find my own voice again. So I started small, and I just started to notice things like any little synchronicities or just anything magical. I started kind of taking a mental note of that, and I really got back into my spirituality, which, piqued my curiosity and started opening my mind to some other ways of thinking.
I gave myself permission to daydream again, to picture a life that felt like mine and not one designed to impress anyone else. It was messy. It was uncomfortable. There were so many days where I felt totally lost, like who even am I without a job title or a clear plan? But slowly, underneath all that noise, I started to hear myself again. The part of me that loves creating, the part of me that feels at home in the in-between spaces, a little witchy, a little weird, and totally okay with that. The more I listened to her, the clearer everything became. I realized I don't just want a job. I want a life that feels like me, where my work is an extension of who I really am and not just a mask I wear to fit in.
I really dove deep into creativity and started taking on some other like art projects, started painting and creating mixed media art, and that really fed my soul and helped me relax and took some of the edge off of the craziness that I was going through, and just gave myself the space to feel all of the feelings, the anxiety, the fear, the what if I'm not good enough, what if I can't do what I want to do, all of those feelings. I learned how to let the intrusive thoughts flow through me and past me and dissipate versus listening to them and holding on to them and internalizing them. I felt lost without a clear plan, and that was very uncomfortable for me and unfamiliar. But I let myself feel those feelings and I just trusted the process. I never knew what people meant when they said trust the process, but I guess what that means is just feel all the feelings and trust that even though you feel off right now or lost or disconnected or stuck, that feeling doesn't last forever. Everything comes and goes in cycles, and you might be feeling down and lost now, but it's going to turn around and you're not always going to feel that way. And so I just had to trust that the cycle would come back around. It was hard, but it was absolutely necessary. And once I started doing this, I started seeing magical things happen. It's weird how when you let go of control, how things actually start to fall into place. I always thought that I had to force things to happen and make things happen, be a mover and shaker and be aggressive and go after what I wanted versus just kind of sitting and letting things fall into place.
So, to close this all out, I just want to let you know that it's okay to give yourself permission to change. You're not alone, you're not broken, and wanting more is okay. It's okay to want joy and meaning and alignment out of your life. You deserve to want what you want, even if no one else gets it. You're allowed to change and rewrite your story. Maybe it's about coming home to yourself. I'm walking this too. We're in it together. So if you want someone to talk to who understands, reach out, send me a message. I'd love to hear your story or just say hello. Anyway, until next time, I hope you all take care of yourselves and peace, love, and music. Bye.